Shit. I just realized it started. It has started. My gosh. So, welcome, guys. What the fuck was that? Welcome, guys. Peace. Welcome to another video by Meister. Today, we're gonna go into a multitude of topics. Many different topics. Okay, I could list them, but I'm gonna spend 20 minutes just listing what I want to talk about because I got so many ideas. I got so many concepts, so many ideas that if I was to sit here and just explain every single freaking concept, every single freaking idea, I don't think I would get anywhere other than just explaining the concept or the idea. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, I'm just double checking my microphone because I want to make sure that it's not on my earphones. Okay, it's not on my earphones. It's on my microphone. So, welcome back to another video, babes. Welcome back, welcome back. Glad to have ya. Am I? No, I'm not really. I honestly could care less. Nah, jokes. But seriously though, like, I know people be like, oh, I couldn't have done this YouTube thing without you, but it's like, bitch, where were you when I freaking spend every single day making videos with nobody watching? And that's not, I'm not here to diss anybody's contribution. I still appreciate people actually watching because you're investing your time into watching me. Like that, I consider time very highly valuable. So if you're just investing a little bit of time during your day to even watch my video, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is, like that's an investment. I see that as an investment. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, I'm investing my time. You know what I mean? So it's like an equal exchange. It's like an equal give and take. So I'm not going to sit here and be like one of those people. And no offense to those people. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people. It's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys are the only reason I'm here. Bitch, I will do this if people are watching or if they're not watching. You know what I mean? I'm just keep doing it. Because I feel like it, and I wake up and I feel like, let me make a video. I like talking shit. I like talking smack. I like talking spiritual. I like talking all different things. I just like talking like Gemini head ass. So of course, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get up and fucking talk, babes. Like my little microphone with the feather on the back. Don't even ask. I just thought it looked cute, you know, like. I just feel like it looks cute, so I do it. Anytime I feel like something looks cute, like, yes, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Like this? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, that was a little bit out of pocket, what I just said there. And then let's get a little one. Yeah, like a little black and white type one. Okay. Yeah, that's not gonna fit because the other feather is like thicker. But yeah, as you can tell from the title, we've got the Raven Spirit is calling you. Now, a lot of people may click on this video and they'll be like, oh my gosh, like it's a message, it's a sign, and like it may very well be a sign. Don't get me wrong, it may very well be a sign, okay? But I kind of did this title a little bit jokingly, like kind of satire, right? And then, because I was just sitting there thinking about a title, I was like, bitch, like, why am I sitting here taking so much freaking time to think of a title? And then, like, I just thought of the Raven Spirit is calling you, and then I was like, bruh, like, low-key, that would be a funny title to do. I feel like that would be funny to do. So I decided to do it because I thought it would be funny. Like, it would be funny. It would be hilarious. I was actually gonna name it something else to do with the raven, but I just thought it'd be funny. I just thought it'd be funny, a little bit funny, because I kind of see those videos like, and I kind of sometimes chuckle a little bit. Not all the time, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes, you know, genuinely, I'll be thinking, like, for example, let's say you're already going through this kind of mental process in your mind, and then you see things online that says the raven spirit is calling you, but you already been thinking kind of deep down that the raven spirit has been like calling you per se, which even that in itself, the way you say that is so vague, you know what I mean? So that's another reason why I did that title, because it's like, okay, well, what do you even mean, you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. And no offense to anybody who's like this, you know what I mean? Because I'll break down and deeper into the video, and you'll see how, like, I'll explain how the raven spirit can actually call you, you know, in a legitimate way, but then I'll also kind of equate it and like relate it to like the joking kind of way too, right? Because let's say, like I was saying, you're out in the world, you've already been thinking about the raven spirit has kind of, you've been drawn to that energy, you've been drawn to that energy of transformation, of internal, like feminine energies, of chaos, of, or whatever that representation would look like to you. You know, the reason, actually one of the reasons why I even did this video was because I kept seeing these videos that come up on my page, and they kept saying Hecate is calling you, Hecate is calling you. And I like, kind of like low-key makes me laugh, because one, my name is John Tay, so like anything with the Tay in it, I'm like, oh, you're calling me, like you're calling me with the Tay, like you might as well, that's like me calling me, like, you know what I mean? Hecate, John Tay. Like, I'm not saying I'm Hecate or anything, you know what I mean? But I just find it a little bit funny when, like, bitch, like, you know, bitch be like, Beyonce is calling you. Like, in my head, I just hear, like, John Tay is calling you, like, you know what I mean? And, like, that doesn't mean I'm Beyonce. Like, but it just sounds so similar to my name, so I'm just like, you know, like, I'm just like, I don't know, is this a joke? You know, you know? I don't know. Sometimes I sit there and question those things, but same time, if that's something, you know, that's a synchronicity to you, then by all means, it most likely is a synchronicity. You know what I mean? Like, let's say I've been thinking a lot about those kind of energies to do with the raven, right? And then I see these messages like Hecate is calling you. I take shit with a grain of salt. So in my mind, I'm like, well, first of all, I don't really resonate to the Greek. I'm pretty sure Hecate is Greek, right? I don't resonate to the Greek goddess or pantheon of gods and shit like that personally. But I also, you know, I respect other people's cultures. I respect other people's perspectives too. So I know that there's an energy in itself, because I look at everything as energy. I don't look at it so much as like, oh, this is a certain god, this is a certain god, and those two things are separate. If those two things have the same energy, I see either those are the same energetic source, you know what I mean, or they're related in some way. So, you know, a lot of people who are religious, they'll be like, oh, well, God and like the Christian Bible per se is not the same as, like, let's say Zeus, you know. But to me, those are like pretty much the same energy, because if you actually look at the story and the way they explain it, the energy and the signature of Zeus, and then the energy and the signature of the Christian God, they're pretty similar. So to me, it's like you're either two birds of the same feather, or you're the same bird. You know what I mean? So I don't really see it any other way. So when I see stuff like Hecate is calling you, I relate it to my own culture, my own, what I resonate with on my own cultural level, you know? But besides that, I look at it as an energetic signature. So what does Hecate in itself represent? You know, what does Hecate represent as a whole? And so to me, Hecate represents one, like, I'm pretty sure she's like a moon goddess or something like that, right? The triple goddess, so that relates to like the Holy Trinity and all of those kind of energies, okay? So, and then she also relates to, what's it called? Like the crow, the raven, all of those kind of energies, which is, yeah, like ties back to why I made this title in the first place, because it kind of reminded me of those little videos that I see. where people's like, Hecate is calling you. Like, I don't care so much for what, like, Hecate, the goddess, calling me for or whatever. I just care about, okay, well, what energy does that represent? What energetic signature does that come from? you know? And so that energetic signature must be trying to resonate with me, or I already resonate with that energetic signature in some way, shape, or form. Hence the feathers, because I didn't go out and be like, oh, Hecate is calling me, let me go find a raven feather outside. No, I got I got the raven feather, and I also had been researching prior. I'd been researching about this in Maori culture. We have Hine Nui Te Po. Hine Nui Te Po is basically like the Maori version of Hecate or other beings or other deities that's related to the underworld, right? So Hine Nui Te Po is actually the embodiment of the underworld, basically, in some way, shape, or form. And so it represents the underworld. And a lot of people hear the underworld and they'd be like, oh, that's hell, that's evil, that's darkness. But it's not necessarily per se. The underworld is just to do with, like, everything to do with feminine energy. So the underworld doesn't necessarily have to be hell, doesn't even have to be evil or darkness, but it entails some kind of darkness. And this is where people get lost. They'd be like, oh, darkness is evil, darkness is bad. No, darkness is just darkness. That's it. Like, period. If you're in the dark, that doesn't inherently mean that being in the dark equals bad. But we also know that in the dark, sometimes bad things might happen. But we also know that there's also good things. For me, I love to go for walks in the dark. I prefer that over going for walks during the day, actually, honestly. Why? Because it's so peaceful. It's so quiet. It's very secluded. It's not full of every thought and feeling and concept that everybody's throwing out. Because when I go out into the world, I feel people's freaking energy. I feel people's space that they're in. So when I'm out in the world and it's nighttime, everyone's space is a lot more calmer, and if anything, their space might even be resting, so they'd be in a more of a dormant state. So all of that energy, yeah, I do resonate with that shit, you know what I mean? And that is a representation of the underworld in some way, shape, or form. So for people to just chalk it up and just be like, the underworld is hell and it's dark and it's evil, you're missing the point very, 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 very much so. Because there's so much more to that underworld energy. There's transformation, there is wisdom, there's experience, right? You go through experiences. There's also nurturing, right? Because in Maori culture, Hine Nui Te Po is the mother of humans, basically. And she represents the underworld because she, in that story, she ends up actually saying to, I think it was, oh, I can't remember his name. I think it was Tane, which is like what, the first man or something like that. So she ended up saying to Tane, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And she said that because she had been betrayed by him, or she had felt betrayed by him because he lied about who he was to her. Plot twist, he was actually her dad, and he ended up having children with her. But when she found out, she said, all of our children, what you can have them during their life, during the place of their living, right? But she said once they have lived their life, they will finally come and return to me, and I will take care of them in the afterlife. And that is what the underworld represents in that story, right? And so she is basically representing some form of nurturing, some form of taking care of her children. Because even though, yeah, she felt betrayed, yeah, she didn't want to be with the dad anymore, she didn't want to spend her life in the world of light, Te Ao Marama, she didn't want to spend her life like that, but she still knew that she wanted to have a life with her children. So she decided to create a compromise in a sense, a compromise where you can have the children during their life and I will take the children during their afterlife, right? So when it comes to this energy with Hine Nui Te Po, there's so much more to the story and so much more to the background of the energy than just darkness, evil, being separate, feeling betrayed. Like there's the strength that that woman has in order to even be able to separate and put that boundary up, right? So it teaches us about boundaries. And all of this stuff you can extract from just a simple story about a deity, a goddess. And that's where a lot of people may even get lost too, because people will be like, oh, like you're worshipping these goddesses, you're worshipping these deities. But even in Māori culture, it's not even like that. It's not even like we're worshipping. In Māori culture, if you actually understand it, it's about respecting the different energies, where those energies come from, and paying your respects. It's not about worshipping and seeing this thing as more greater than you. It's like your parents. Like you respect your parents to a certain level. You know what I mean? Some people might not, because your parents might have treated you like absolute shit. And that's fair enough on your part. You don't necessarily have to respect your parents like that. A lot of people will argue with me and say you should always respect your parents, but if your parents constantly disrespect you, walk all over you, I don't think that should be the case, because respect is earned. But yeah, it's about like that kind of energy. It's about respecting. It's about reverence. But even people will hear reverence and they'll probably think that that's like a form of worship. It's about respecting the source of things, respecting the nature of things, right? And sometimes the nature of things may entail or may include things that are not necessarily good per se, but they're also necessary, And so that's a lesson that Hine Nui Te Po teaches me, or that I'm able to learn from the story of Hine Nui Te Po, which I already knew that, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't even say Hine Nui Te Po taught me that. But we're talking about energetic source, like at the source of that energy right now, you know what I mean? We're not necessarily talking about that being, you know what I mean? Which that is a being, that because we all have our own energy and our own expression of energy, right? So you in yourself, you could be represented in a similar aspect. We don't have to call you Hine Nui Te Po or nothing like that. But, like you have your own energetic vibe, same way any other energy would have their own awareness to that goes with that vibe for it to even be expressed and for it to be even be able to be received. Everything has an energetic source or vibe. There's freaking flies near me are pissing me off. That's like fly. That's fly energy right there for you. They're like, get out of my face. So if you ever meet anyone in your life, like gives you that energy, like you just want to swat them away. Like that's I highly likely that person was probably a fly in their past life. Or if they're not a fly, they're gonna be a fly, like very in the next life, because they're in that energy. For you to even have that space or energy to be like, and even if you don't physically do it, you just like. You know what I mean? You just want to swat them away, like bitch. Like they were probably a bug, or they're probably going to be a bug in their next life. And this may be you. You may be the one that is going to be a bug, or was a bug. That's how you can tell the difference between someone who may have been in a different, energetic space, or resonate with a different vessel that they have either just came from or going to, So even if you're even if you're playing out certain characteristics like that, babes, be mindful. Start acting like a pig. People start calling you a pig. You might actually just end up as a pig. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I don't really like. I don't really fuck with the pigs. Like physically, like literally, I don't like eating pig. And what do you think that is? That's Well, I was talking about my last video yesterday, how when you dislike a certain thing or dislike a certain experience or dislike a certain energy, shows how much you've been through that experience, right? So take a wild guess. How many times do you think I've been a pig for? Like, bish, I may not have even been a physical one, but mentally, spiritually, I might have been in that energy a little bit too long, baby. And that led me to not even want a bar of it. I don't even want to eat that shit. Ugh, that was nasty. No offense to anyone who eats pig. I just find that shit disgusting. Yuck. Just the concept to look at a pig and the idea, the characteristics of a pig. Because a lot of people say pigs are clean and stuff like that. Nah, they eat their own shit. That is as far as I'll even take it in my mind. I don't even want to research or find out anymore. I don't give a shit how clean you say they are. If you eat your own shit like that ain't really cute. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of animals be eating shit. A lot of animals be eating vomit too, but still, even so, like even chickens, because I heard a lot of chickens be eating shit, babes. I don't even really like chicken that much. And that's not because they eat shit. But so, yeah, the raven energy itself, may be calling you if you have been experiencing a lot of this energy, this transformational energy. And if you're even into spiritual stuff in general, because the raven is kind of a little bit like a catch-all kind of representation of spirituality. And spirituality is just individuality. So when you express your individuality, that's you expressing your spirit. So that is you are spiritual, but the raven, maybe you're drawn to the raven, or maybe you're just drawn to things that's like more hidden behind the scenes or unknown. These are all representations of the raven spirit, Hinenui Te Po, Hekate, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It's all pointing to the same kind of space, that same kind of aspect, right? And this is like showing you what kind of stuff you're into, especially if you really like that, like you're really excited about that, that might be a new experience for your spirit, because your spirit is like enticed by something that's new. Whenever something's new, your spirit is a lot more excited, keen, and motivated. And when things start to get old, that's when you start to lose interest. So when you start to be like, oh, I don't know if I'm really into this thing anymore. You know what I mean? So in case anyone thought I was like talking shit out of my ass or pseudo, babes, I can back my shit up with the facts. So yeah, when it comes to this kind of energy, you got to be mindful as well. Like when it comes to these synchronicities you may be seeing online, synchronicities. Like let's say you see a video and it's like this being is this God is calling you, this deity is calling you. Like if you haven't already been thinking about that, and that hasn't already been on your mind, you haven't already been seeing signs before you went online, like why would that one thing online be the sign? You know what I mean? So synchronicities happen. Synchronicities, for me at least, the most easiest way to know them is when they are constant. Like, you know what I mean? So you will get multiple confirmations, and it won't just be online. You know what I mean? So if it's just online and you're just seeing that one video, like you probably are maybe a little bit lost a little bit. I don't know why this fucking thing keeps moving. Like what? Is it because my head moves? I don't know. But yeah, you might be a little bit lost a little bit in like either validation, especially if it's one of those ones where they're like, this God is calling you, and you kind of see it like an ego, so you get lost in your ego and you're like, oh my gosh, like this God is calling me, I must be special, I must be one of the chosen ones. That's another one like a lot of people throw around, it's like the chosen ones. Like, bitch, fuck all that shit. I'm chosen because I chose myself. Whether you want to be a chosen one or not, that's up to you at the end of the day. Someone on YouTube telling you that you're a chosen one, that just shows, like, especially if you feel like you need that, or that's like the one thing that you need to kind of validate yourself. Babe, it's like you might not be the chosen one. You're probably further from the chosen one than most people. You know what I mean? People who's actually chosen, which, like, first of all, people who's actually chosen know that nobody is chosen. And bitch, you choose yourself. Like, it's not about being the chosen one. Like, the fuck? Just give me a second. Yeah, you choose yourself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you choose what happens in your path. You choose what you allow. You choose what you want to indulge in, and so on and so forth. So, just that whole concept of the chosen ones in itself, that's a little bit flunked out, like a little bit lost in the source. You get it there. That's like kind of going back to that whole like Jewish concept, how they're like, oh, we're God's chosen people and stuff like that. It's like, bitch, like, I know some people may even hear that and be like, oh, that's anti-Semitism, but it's like, bro, like, how egotistical do you have to be to think that you are like the only people that God chose? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but anyways, I don't want to go too deep into that because I know that's a little bit controversial. Well, not that I really care anyway, because at the end of the day, you can't do shit to me. Can't do shit to me. Not mentally, not physically, not physically, not mystically, not mystically. Because I got the Raven spirit, babes. I got the Raven spirit. So I got that mystery. I got that spiritual. I got that transformation. So I could transform anything. I don't give a fuck. I'll be transforming everything in my reality. You know what I mean? Whether that takes me to be like to play out some energy that not a lot of people might like or whatever. But I'll be transforming that shit and my shit be impactful. You know what I mean? I know that for a fact. And the more I affirm that, the more factual it gets. So I wanted to also talk about so many things, man. But also, like, low key, I wanted to pull the cards. Like, I kind of wanted to pull like a card. I want to try something a little bit different. I feel like might have done this in a video before, but I feel like I'm feeling like that. Let's do it a little bit more. You know what I mean? So let's pull a card, right? We got the Five of Wands, right? What's this one? It's like a conflict kind of card, right? But it's also, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it's kind of like standing your ground. See how the skunk is like protecting himself. So it's giving conflict, but it's giving conflict in a way of protecting yourself. But it also came out like kind of facing like that on the ground. So to me, it's like downright. So you're a downright baddie. No jokes. Talk about like downright, down to me is down and right is very similar energy right there. You know what I mean? So when it comes to going down, like we know that represents quite a few different things. Represents not only feeling down, feeling depressed, right? And then we also have down right? Feeling depressed or feeling like that depression is the right thing to do, feeling righteous in your down energy, or feeling like you have to do something that's right and that makes you depressed, or like there's so many different energies, so many different ways that can break down this card right here. But tying it to what I was saying as well, it could be like that energy of, because I was talking about the raven. So when it comes to this, it's like, damn, babe, it's like you might be being called to transform this space of yours, transform the way you kind of express yourself with wands, transforming the way you express your individuality. And so that it's not so like what I'm getting, because it's downright. What I'm getting is like you may be a pushover, it's like giving pushover energy, whoever may be watching. But also just in general, because I not only pulled this card for whoever's watching, but I pulled this card as like a topic of what I can go into in this video too. So you may be a pushover, or, we just need to break down this kind of pushover energy in itself, which ties back to what I was talking about with Hinenui Po. It's like setting those boundaries, putting those walls where they need to be in order for you to be able to stand your ground, in order for you to be able to feel free as a spirit, right? And not feel so down, feel so depressed, feel so trapped, all of that kind of energy, you know? So you may be feeling called to do that if the Raven Spirit is kind of in your space as well. The Raven Spirit is teaching us as well, or Hinenui Te Po, all of that energy is showing how to tune into your own internal space and how to hold that space, you know, for yourself and for others. And so that represents not only the unknown, because, you know, nobody knows about your own internal space, only you know. So that's something that you have to discover, that's something you have to find out, or all of that type of energy. So other people can't really necessarily tell you whether that's right or wrong, you know, because at the end of the day, you know you better than anyone. You know you better than anyone can know you, especially in this world, especially with a whole bunch of freaking people that, you know, exist in this world. A lot of people in this world are just, well, everyone actually, everyone's self-reflecting in some way, shape, or form. But on a toxic level, large population of people are self-reflecting to the point where they don't even realize they're self-reflecting, and they think that they're able to kind of have like clairvoyance in some way, but it's all still self-reflecting, you know what I mean? So, and then with the Five of Wands too, like we got that well behind there that I was drawn to too. So it's like, bitch, like you filling up your own well, you know, are you able to provide your own water? Are you able to gain and sustain yourself with your own sustenance and all of that kind of stuff? And if not, you know, that may be like a point of disagreement, a point of conflict between you and the external, you know? So it's like that story of Hinenui Te Po, you know, like she relied on somebody to for her to even be with that man, right? She would have had to rely and just trust that others thought that it was right, or trust other people's ways of seeing that, oh, this man must be right for her, till she got older and she realized that that was her dad, you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, well, you put your trust into someone who actually betrayed you, you know, rather than actually taking the initiative, taking the independence first, and actually going out and asking, right? My cat just went to go grab this. I swear, I don't know whose cats are like that, but like these freaking cats that we have, like they be eating chips. Like, I swear, I worry, like if I left this packet here, he'll probably eat the whole packet. And if you know anything about cats, salt is not good for cats. Because cats don't drink that much water, so for them to have salt, it's a big shift in their chemistry of their body. Because they remember, like cats originate from the desert. Well, that's what they say, but I know there's cats in New Zealand. I don't know if those cats originated anywhere near no desert, because there's probably one desert in New Zealand. Like, but yeah, those might not be native cats, though. That might be the case. But yeah, they reckon cats are from the desert, right? So, you know, they need that. They need they survive on less water, and they don't need as much salt because of that. You know, salt and water go hand in hand. Your body absorbs water by using salt, and that's what it draws into the cells with that salt, right? So, when it comes to, you know what I noticed as well with this card here, that's got the multi-colors. So we got the red, we got the black, and then we got the white here. So that's got the multi-colors in it, you know? The multi-colors, those represents the te kore, which is black, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. And then um sorry, I just had a moment. I was like, wait, te kore, which is the void, which is black, which is no thing, essentially. And then you have like the red, which represents the creation. Like it's like the first spark, right? The first energy of initiating some form of creation. That's why red represents Mars energy, all that kind of stuff, you know. So it's like kind of like that birth, and it also in Māori culture represents Hineahuone. Don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Hineahuone, and how she's the first woman, and she represents red, and she also represents fire, the fire element. Which is funny too, because as well, Raven in the indigenous Australian culture, specifically the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung culture, which is where I'm from, they believe that the raven brought fire to the earth, right? So it's a representation of the creation of fire. So from Te Kore, from the darkness, from the nothing, there was fire. It was able to give birth and create, and then that created the white. Finally, the white, and the white represents Te Ao Marama, which is the world of light. You know, the physical realm that we exist in, right? So those are the three colors of the Māori flag, actually, as well. And just Māori colors in general. Those are generally like the largely accepted Māori colors, right? And I had this concept in my head of what I wanted to talk about specifically related to Māori, but for some reason that shit just slipped my mind. Like I don't know where that went, but that's all right. If I when next time it comes to my mind, I'll write it down, then I can make another video about that. But yeah, in New Zealand we don't actually have ravens or crows or anything like that. Apparently they had one prior to like the 1900s, I'm pretty sure. But then they said that they were no, that's the huia, sorry. That was another bird. I'm pretty sure either it was before European contact or after European contact. That's when the New Zealand ravens or rooks or crows, which are similar species, when all those species started to become extinct in New Zealand. So, as well, New Zealand has their own representations of kind of the unknown, which we have like the ruru, pretty sure it's called the ruru owl, or in English they call it the moorpork, but so I don't know what the fuck that is. Like sounds a bit random. Yeah, they call it the moorpork, but that represents the underworld, Hinenui Te Po, the unknown, the feminine, you know, all of those kind of spaces, those energetic energies, right? And that just reminded me too, you know, because this card came out facing towards there. So this video is very much tying into all this underworld kind of energy, right? So what I'm wanting to talk about with that being negative. And so it's like kind of it's like life has this weird way of like doing the exact showing you the exact opposite. And like things are backwards. So everything's backwards in the spiritual realm. So for example, let's say, like I was just saying, you feel like you're going to be negative, right? By doing something, but you not doing it is actually the thing that's going to make you be more negative, right? So it's like life has this weird way of kind of showing you a mirror in that way, in that aspect, which when you catch onto it and when you're able to kind of grasp the concept, it's actually a beautiful thing and it's really, really helpful. But when a lot of people don't know that and they get lost into the world, then they see it as a negative thing, and then they think like then that leads you to being like, oh, life is like a joke. But that's like that trickster energy again, like that raven, that underworld type energy again, where you're not paying attention to the feminine, the chaotic, the internal aspect of life. You're only lost into the external, you're lost into the masculine, you're lost into the illusion. And so you think that things are one way when actually if you paid attention to the feminine, the internal, all of those stuff, you would have realized that No, they were actually the opposite way, babes. They were always the opposite way. So I don't know why you got lost into it. So yeah, with that freaking energy, babes, it's important to really weigh out your options. Don't get lost into one concept, to one idea. Always have an equilibrium. And you know what, guys? I'm gonna be real. Like, I tried not to. I didn't even want this video to be about like teaching and shit like that. But it just flows out of me. Like, I just be talking and talking and talking and talking, talking. Like, so that's why I'm like, yeah, nah. This is literally my energy. Like, I can't. Well, I can, but like find it hard to jump out of this energy when it's like my natural state. It's like my initial reaction is to teach, is to talk about my experiences, to talk about my wisdom. And then like because I've got the eighth house moon too, it's like I go deep with it, you know what I mean? I don't just do the surface level teaching. I don't just do the surface level experience or the surface level wisdom. I have to go deep with that shit, you know what I mean? So, hmm. A lot of people may look at this and, even people in my real life, because there's some people in my real life I don't even necessarily talk about or talk to them in this way. But that's because, like, I don't really feel comfortable to even express myself like that around those people, So I'd rather just limit my time with those kind of energies and find some other energy that's going to actually appreciate me for who I am, that type of shit. But some people may look at me and be like, oh, like especially people I used to know and maybe not associate with anymore. They may look at me and be like, well, where the fuck did this come from? Who the fuck are you? Like, bitch, I've always been like this, but I don't necessarily express it or to just anyone. You know what I mean? So maybe that's a fault on my behalf, or maybe that's a benefit. But I noticed it seems like a little bit of a fault because, obviously I'm surrounded by those people in the first place for me to feel like I don't want to talk about that stuff. So in some way, shape or form, always have that self-reflection, then that's when the Raven Spirit will be able to actually help you. And when I say the Raven Spirit, I'm just talking about that energy in itself. That's when you'll be able to transform, you'll be able to get out of that form and develop a new form. Take yourself to the next level because every level's got a devil, like that type of energy. So that's how you can kind of answer the call, when it comes to whether or not these energies are calling to you, because you may feel drawn to a lot of things that's tied to that energy signature of what I'm breaking down in this video. You may be even that type of person that's like really into like grunge or rock and all that kind of stuff. It's like a call. You're being called to that energy, that space. There's a reason why, because either you resonate with that energy or maybe that energy has something to teach you or like whatever it is, but in some way, shape or form, you're being called. Because I know for me, like a lot of the time when I was younger, I used to apply negative connotations to a lot of these things, People say that in certain cultures that even ravens are bad luck, bad luck. They say in certain spiritual beliefs that like the underworld is like a bad thing, like with the hell concept and all that shit. But it's not even that. Like that's just a single-minded, narrow-minded perspective of an energy that has many different qualities. And yeah, it can include that hell concept that everyone likes to bottle it up to. But it's not just that, So like people be getting lost into shit. People getting lost into shit. And a lot of Maori people will be able to understand this already. A lot of people who is indigenous or native to somewhere, or just even if you just think a little bit more like a Maori or indigenous or native person, then you'll be able to kind of catch on and click with what I'm saying a lot easier than per se someone who's only generally got like European blood. But most likely, those people who have a lot more European either blood or mindset, they probably won't even click on my video or spend more than 5 minutes watching my video because they'll just think it's bullshit, But just the fact that if you're watching this video right now and you can pretty much grasp majority of the concepts that I'm putting forward, like shows, because everything that you pay attention to, everything that you're into, that represents what your space how likes to use to express itself. So if you constantly paying attention to a whole bunch of spiritual type esque shit or unknown behind the scenes raven underworld type energy, that's your spirit is trying to showing you something. This is where you resonate to. This is the kind of space that you resonate with. You resonate more with that underworld type of energy. And what does that even mean? That means that you are more behind the scenes. You're probably tuned more into the feminine, so you see things. You're more common sense minded. You're not so logical. You don't need just facts and stuff. You may like having facts, but you don't need facts to know something. You'll know something based off just your experiences. So all of that stuff is like that feminine energy. And you may even be into like witchcraft or any concept like that, So yeah, when it comes to the raven spirit calling you, babes, this is some signs, some ways that you can tell. The raven spirit is calling you. And I'll leave it at that. And I'll do the Moldy thing in another video once I actually remember what the fuck it was. That's weird for me though, because I got really good memory. I don't ever need to write shit down when I do these videos. So the fact that I forgot that, I take that as a sign that I definitely need to do that topic, whatever that topic was. As soon as I remember it, I'm definitely going to strive for it, because something's blocking that for me to even forget that, because that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So we got this one. Huh? Peace.